Welcome to our InCity HotSpots episode, Rising Stars. We're happy. I'm excited. I'm pumped to have two special, amazing guests today. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. We're going to let ladies first.
Hey, hi, I'm Coach Aiden Trevino for the Coyotes.
And our second guest we have.
Hello, I'm Aiden Hernandez, coach for InCity HotSpots.
All right. Coach Addy and Coach H, we call him Coach H, Coach Aiden, right? They have been doing an amazing job this summer, not only in the summer, but year-round. They're very dedicated and they're very pro-community, right? What does that mean? That they do a lot for the kids in the community. They love sports, and they've been very involved. They have a lot of experience. So we just want to get to know them a little bit better. We're happy to have them here with us today, and we're just going to ask a little bit about see what's going on, right, with some of their experiences, and we'll get right to it. All right. Coach Addy, what inspired you to volunteer your time and coach these young athletes in our first ever InCity HotSpots League? This is an experiment for us, right? And I reached out to you right away, and you were like, yeah, coach, I'm all in. What inspired you to say yes to Coach H and myself?
Originally, I was not going to do any sports for this summer just because it's been here and there and all over. But you said, okay, it's June. I'm like, you know what? I need to be that one person that says no to any kid. And if I have any kind of time, I'm always out there. If one kid wants to play, I always feel there's always room for somebody, and I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're left out because there's never enough coaches. So I always feel very taken back when there's somebody like, hey, we need one more coach. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I got you. I'll get you some kids out there. Whoever needs to be coached.
Awesome. Coach H, you want to piggyback a little bit on that? What inspired you both to volunteer your time in our summer league? This same thing. I know the summer is you all's off time, right? So it takes a special person, right? Special people like yourselves. What inspired you, Coach?
Well, for me, it's mainly the kids. I do it for the kids because when I was growing up, we didn't have none of those growing up in my elementary. I didn't have no summer league, no outside league, city league, nothing like that. So it's very amazing that I was able to join with and coach for the InCity HotSpots.
Excellent answers, very heartfelt answers, right? And I agree. Even I, growing up, I grew up outside, and I always wanted to do something in the summer. And sometimes basketball somehow has always been a sport. Sometimes that you not only can you practice with the team, but if you don't have a team, you can practice individually, right? You're at home. So sometimes I didn't get my first basketball court till I was probably in middle school. So I started off, just dribbling the ball in my driveway sometimes, shooting the basket on top of the garage, and the ball would just come down, right? So I know the more experiences we can give our youth, the better. And I'm just very grateful, like you all, that as a team that y'all were able to join us, and collectively we've been able to give the kids an opportunity, right? Coach Addy, can you share a memorable moment or highlight so far, maybe from this from the summer league that has stood out from you?
So a lot of my kids are coming up from like either the 6U or the 8U divisions from regular rec, and so the basket is higher right now for them. And we have one little girl that's never played. She's always grown up seeing her brother play, and we hadn't had a girl team. And so we called her up and like, hey, do you want to give it a try? And for her to actually come out there, she's like, it's too tall for me. And then one day she actually made a basket. That was my moment for her, just because, she's one of the tinier ones. You get a couple girls in there, but it's a lot more boys. And for her to be like, you know what? I took it away from the boy. And I guess as a female, I am more pro for the girls to be out there very active. So that was my moment.
Your moment. We're happy to see her there. And yes, I remember that moment, right? And so, we wanted to create sometimes, anxiety, or the environment can create anxiety, right? Packed gym sometimes, too many people. It's too loud of an environment, right? There's so many there's so many aspects that can trigger an uncomfortable environment for children sometimes, right? And so us being outdoors, I think alleviates some of that loud, chaotic noise, right? That alleviates some of that pressure. And we just, I mean, I agree. Seeing your kids come out and battle on a 10-foot court. I know like you said, we're used to playing on 8-foot baskets, and it's a good transition. I think what better way? And I like what I see. The Coyotes, y'all have been there every single day. You've committed from the moment that I asked you, Coach Addy, we're gonna run this league. You all are gonna play four games a week, right? Can you commit as a coach? And you're like, yes, coach, I will. And I go, can your kids commit it all 4 days? I know it's a lot to ask for. You're like, not a problem. We're ready to go. Let me gather up the team. And sure enough, so I appreciate, we appreciate as a community the commitments, right? Not anybody can do it. Not anybody's is gonna play 16 games in 1 month, which you all have played as a Coyotes. Not anyone is gonna volunteer their time to come out, for an hour a day or 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. So very grateful. And yes, some of these moments we've all been able to share, and the moments that the Coyotes have that you feel, we feel as well, right? Like, man, they're great. Little did we know that some, this is why we're talking, right? Basketball. What are some of the things that are happening? This is news to me, right? Being able to get some of these girls and boys. And Coach H, we're gonna go back to you. What about some of the you want to share any special moments as well? I know you also have co-ed teams, right? A little bit.
Yeah. So with me, it would be more with how the kids react when they do little mistakes, when they turn over the ball, or when they're going for a layup and they turn around and they're like, "Where's the foul? Where's the foul?" Like, no one touched you. Come on, it was all ball. Let's go. And then when they try doing a football pass all the way across the court, come on. But yeah, those are my memories right there.
Memorable moments. Their reactions to some of the silly how it goes on, right? And so yeah, I know I get a lot. I've been officiating those games, and some they look at me and they're like, "Where's the foul?" Politely, yeah. and they continue. I give them a look, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna continue play." So yeah, it's a lot of fun, right? Making this league fun was one of our go-to initiatives. How do you all balance, like, as coaches? How do you balance having fun with trying to compete at the same time, right? Those are two very important aspects of basketball. We try to do both. What are some of the tricks to the trade, Coach Addy, in balancing teaching the fundamentals and keeping it fun at the same time?
So with us, I go, take this as a practice. Every game you play, it's just to get better. The more time you have with the ball, that is one thing. It is very different playing outside than it is inside a gym. Besides the noise, you have like the wind factors. So it just makes the kids have to think about like their passes more. And a lot of these kids, the younger ones, they don't like to maybe bounce pass. And so I tell them, it's very windy. If you do a chest pass, it may not get there the same way. You have to let's practice our bounce passes. I go, this league is more, let's try this. We're going to work things out here. So we take it as a lot of practice the more time we get out there. So.
Which is pretty much what youth sports should all be about, right? Every game they play, even though it's competitive, it should just be getting some practice. I agree 100%. Coach H, you want to add a little bit to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I tell the kids. Usually, they like to, when they're in a group, when I'm trying to talk to them in a group, they tend to play around, but the way I like to coach from keeping the fun away is, I usually get the two individuals or the couple players, and I talk to them aside and I tell them, look, we should do it more like this, more like that, get lower, shuffle, raise your hands, go for the ball, never go for the player. And that's when the teaching of coaching comes into play. And when I want to talk to them, like having fun, like, oh, you should pass to here, but maybe pull a LeBron and go for a layup. So yeah, it's more as a group. They have a little fun, but if you want to get the coaching aside, I say you do a little bit more individual one-on-one talks.
We've been going at it for 4 weeks. We're about to complete 4 weeks, right? Have y'all seen growth? Have y'all seen progress? I know Coach Addy mentioned a little bit about the success that her little girl had. What else have y'all seen as far as growth in 4 weeks?
With me, I have seen them. A lot of them are coming from 6U, where it was just going back and forth. So I've seen a growth on them. They're passing, that they're actually going more. They're getting a little bit more aggressive to go fight for that ball, to shoot. They're shooting a little bit more confidently instead of just looking for somebody else to pass, to shoot the ball. And so that's what I've seen. Like, I've seen them growing just all around from that.
I agree. I'll piggyback a little bit on that. Coach H, what else have you seen as far as growth with your teams?
Well, chemistry's growing a lot. It's very much good. And I would say also the confidence. The confidence is building up with these kids. We had kids that wouldn't want to shoot the ball. They were afraid of shooting because they would tell me, oh, I don't like shooting because I miss them a lot. And I tell them, no, just take your shots. This is practice. Perfect time to practice your shooting. Even if you miss, it's better to miss your shots than to not make any shots at all.
I agree with what you all said, right? I'm in the middle of the court most of the time as I'm officiating these games, and I do agree with how they're transitioning from baby basketball to big boy, big girl basketball, right? In the sense that not only did the basket go from 8 feet to 10 feet, but yes, I've seen that. I've seen plenty of the game has slowed down for them a little bit, right? They spaced it out. They're learning how to play a transition basketball game. They're learning how to set up a not so much of a actual front court offense, but they're starting to implement some of the fundamentals of a front court offense, where it's not just let's run, one person gets the ball and go score, right? They're bringing up the ball. There's a lot of ball movement going on. There's kids that are moving around, and yes, it's a big difference from what we've seen from our 8U or 6U, where it's like a swarm of bees or a swarm of ants that everybody just wants to run to the ball, right? So it has been only 4 weeks, but in these 4 weeks, I've seen a lot of growth in all the teams that have been out there, and it's a great. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's just a great reward to see, all these teams, all these players just be able to develop in such a short time. I speak to family and I speak to other colleagues, and we're like, man, I'm amazed, right? Even as a father, I'm amazed how fast these kids learn, how fast these kids develop in 1 week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. I think they learn and they adapt faster than some of us adults adapt sometimes later on in life, right? So those are some of the intrinsic rewards that I've noticed so far. Let's talk a little bit about community, the sense of community. Can you talk about the community that has developed among players, parents, and coaches during the league? Coach Addy, you want to start off us?
So with me, I see more of my parents talking to like another team's parents. I see them a lot more together. Like, there's not the visitor and the home side where they're completely separate. I see them all interacting with each other. Like, and one of the parents were like, hey, is that your son or your daughter? And they're like, oh, he's doing really well, or he's doing this. Like, I see them like communicating when in the normal gym we would not be doing that. And then even afterwards, I see them all mingling again and practicing or shooting. They stay after their game. And then I've seen a couple times they come out of the police station and they'll watch the kids for a while before I guess they go home or to their shift. But it's nice to see it. Like, the kids really like it.
What do you think is, because like I said, this is an experiment for me as well, as a coach, as a parent, right, as a father. I wanted to see what are I'm trying to figure it out as well as we go along. What is it that is allowing a different type of atmosphere to be developed? Coach H, you wanna answer me that question? What is it? Addie she spoke about the atmosphere and how it's a less tense environment. It's a less I'm looking for answers, right? What is the reason? Why is that happening? Why?
I would say maybe it would be more about they have the free roaming space to sit where they choose. They could literally sit behind the basketball court, and there's the other parents. There's the other parents from the other teams, and they're communicating there. So that's what I think more of. And the kids too. They're making friends, and they want to develop their game more. They see how one player shoots, they see how another player passes, and they want to learn from them. So they talk to them more, and that's when the parents start getting in together. But yeah, that's what I'm mostly seeing. Addie hit the answer right on.
Right on. I agree. It's at the end of the games, we've been taking pictures, right, together, the winning team and the non-winning team, right, the losing team, right. We talked about how these games are just practice, and it is in the league form. And I think that also at first there was a little bit of hesitation as far as, getting two teams together, especially the team that didn't win, right? And let's take a picture, right? And usually our kids have been so competitive throughout the years that anytime they lose, they start crying because they're just upset because they're so competitive, and it's just eating them up alive, right? And it's not crying because they're babies, it's crying because they're that upset, and these are lessons that I wanted to. We need these kids to learn how to lose. We need these kids to learn how to win, right? We need them and to teach them that it's okay that we lost, and losing is only going to make them stronger, and they're going to want to come back the next day and correct a lot of the mistakes that they made the day prior, right? So I see this, and it's a happy. Every time I see the photos that we take, and I see the two teams and everyone's smiling, and I was like, man, it's worth it. It's worth every hour, every minute that we're volunteering. It's definitely worth it, right? Let's talk a little bit about let's talk about basketball as far as what role do you think sports, particularly basketball, play in the overall development of these young athletes?
For me, it's always teamwork. They learn how to work as a team, and in life, that's what it is. Like, if you have to work with your coworkers, you learn to, you may not be friends with everybody, but you learn to get along and trust them, and to work at the bigger picture. It's coming down to really the teamwork.
Okay, Coach H?
With me, I think it would be the skills they're developing, the fundamental skills. Basketball is perfect because not only is it a shorter distance that you're sprinting back and forth, where it develops your speed a little bit more, teamwork as well. You learn how to do several passes. You have the bounce pass, the chest pass, and you're shooting from distances on free throws. So there's a lot of skills that these kids are developing at.
I agree. Both of you hit it from two different angles, right? These kids are youth developing how to be better student athletes, right? Better people. Developing the long game. The long goal is, right, once again they go into the workforce, right? Learning how to get along with people. Maybe they don't always agree. We're not always going to agree. Like they say, we're going to agree to disagree sometimes and stuff like that. But can we keep our composure when we don't agree? Can we keep our composure when things don't go our way? Can we keep our composure when we lose, right? Can we show good sportsmanship when we win, right? Sometimes those are life lessons, with my son. Sometimes they win, and when they win, they're like, they want to take it a little bit too far, right? Okay, well, settle down a little bit, humble yourself, because we're not always going to win, right? And then they experience a loss, and then sometimes, they're sad, they're upset, they start crying, and it's the other way around. Now, remember how we were when we won? Okay, we took care of that. Now we're losing. So this is going to happen later on in life when you're going to get the job that you want. You're not going to get the job that you want. and so on. So I agree from Addie's perspective, right? Also from Coach H's perspective, a lot of the fundamental skills that are being learned in basketball carry over into a lot of other sports, right? It's a great conditioning sport that it's, sprints. Sprints are one of the best, right? I prefer to be running sprints than long distance. Long distance, I've always gotten a little bit bored, right? But fundamental skills, as far as the shuffle, their sliding, backpedaling, these are all sports. These are all sport specific skills that they can carry over into flag football, into kickball, into volleyball, right? So I think I agree. This sport allows kids to develop in many ways that are going to carry over not only in life but to other sports as well. I agree with that. I'm ready for some open criticism, right? I'm human, and I know we make mistakes. I do have a podcast of officiating that we've launched just to create awareness, right? What's going out there? What happens with officials? What happens with parents? In youth sports, in high school sports, right? We've even, in our podcast episodes, we've had the privilege to have collegiate officials come in and chime in as well. How has the officiating experience been, and how has it contributed to the overall league atmosphere?
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm going to give you a positive and a negative. So what I really like is that you let them play free. Is that we're not always constantly blowing the whistle for every travel, for every little, reaching in, for little things like that. They're more comfortable. I see that they're having more fun because the whistle isn't always being blown. They're learning to do more movement without that fear of the first, right away travel. But on the negative, there's a lot of travel.
I agree, and I've actually been having this conversation with my little one, and he got upset yesterday because out of nowhere I started picking him up. I started picking up his travels a little bit more, right? Because I go, your travel is getting a little bit out of hand, right? And yes, I agree. The travel. I think the travel is one of our the kids have a ball in their hands, right? And they need to look up, and there's so much to the game. And I agree. So, the short-term goals are like, okay, let's see if we can develop the game of basketball this season, right? Where, yes, we are going to allow a little bit of more travels, a little bit more double dribbles, so they can at least get the ball across the court, right? So we can have an actual flow of the game, right? And so they can experience for 4 weeks a 10-foot basket that's going to be overwhelming for them, for the first 4 weeks, because if none of them have ever played on a 10-foot basket. So I'm willing to sacrifice, yes, a little bit of travel, even if it gets too excessive. And I know that we can clean it up, right? We can clean it up next season, because at least they already got to experience the front court, how to pass the ball on the front court, how to run a transition play. They're not going to be, it's not going to be overwhelming shooting into a 10-foot basket. So I kind of wanted to get rid of a lot of the bigger problems that are in the game of basketball. And I know that we can clean it up next season by implementing, being a little bit more strict, right, with the violations. I agree with you 100%. Some of them have gotten a little bit worse, and some of them have gotten a little bit better. And so, yes, it's a give or take, right? Finding the balance. Where can we find the balance of youth sports, right? What's wrong? And I agree. I wish I could call everything, right? But those were my short-term goals. I like, you know what? I don't mind that if coaches feel that we have too much of the travel, too much of the double dribble, I can take that. That is great, perfect, constructive criticism. I agree 100%. And I know that we can clean it up next season. And now there'll be a little bit more better understanding, well, at least, right, there'll be a better flow to the game, right? Also InCity HotSpots, what we want to do, some of the initiatives, just like we had this free league for the kids, I also want to implement free basketball camp for the kids. So we can come in and we can start and break these habits, right? And work on the actual fundamentals of practice, right? The dribbling, the violations, right? The violations, double dribble, the travel, the fouling, how to move correctly, not be too aggressive. So there's a lot of skills that go into that. That is part 2, part of our mission. And I agree. I agree with you 100%. Coach H, what about your experience with the officiating a little bit?
I say we need more techs.
More tech?
No, Adi hit it in spot again. It's a lot of traveling. Well, not a lot, but it's good traveling where the kids are not being so afraid to hold the ball for so long, and they are gonna be afraid of the whistle being blown and not be able to enjoy the game, enjoy passing. So I think, yeah, it's good that we're laying the travels go a little bit more than the fouls. The fouling is just what kills most of the parents. It shows the parents, no, we shouldn't do this. It's a dangerous league. No, it's a safe league. The fouls are being called correctly. And yes, it's hard with one ref. And imagine 2, the communication between the refs, and it goes a lot between 2 refs already. So, yeah.
Yeah, going back to finding a balance. As coaches, as teachers, as referees, the safety of the kids is always number 1. That's always number 1. Not only for us, but for the parents as well, right? I hate to see my little one get hit by someone else. So safety was always number 1 as far as officiating is concerned, right? Picking up the fouls. If a kid, hits, pushes, disrupts freedom of movement by creating illegal contact, we're gonna pick up a foul. It's a foul, right? The violations, I was willing to bypass that. Do you all agree or disagree that just by taking the travel away a little bit, right, has it allowed us to have a 90% more successful league with these youth compared to if I would have implemented the travel, where would we be at right now? Because that's the main one, that traveling violation, right? I think that's key. And in our youth games, we've had officials at 6, 7, 6U, 8U. I mean, they call every single thing, and parents get frustrated, coaches get frustrated. It's a frustrating environment because we're like, man, we want these kids to develop some way, right? We want there to be a flow, and I don't know. I just think we can clean it up. I think we can. Yes, building relationships with officials. I've been officiating by myself, and building chemistry is not it's not the easiest thing, right? I'm bringing in another official right now, which I will be bringing other officials, right? This was our first ever. I would like to guide them and coach them into our expectations, right? What is it that we need? We want everybody to be, we want the parents to be happy. We want the coaches to be happy. And in order for that to happen, we as officials, we have to be on the same page. And I think we can, right? With my help, with my direction, not that I'm perfect, but I think we all agree with what our parents want, what our coaches want, right? So thank you for that honest feedback. I appreciate it 100%. And this is what people want to know. This is what people want to see, right? So feel free to continue chiming in. Going back, so what are some of the intrinsic rewards that youth feel from participating in this league, and how about the rewards you feel as coaches? So let's talk a little bit about first, what do the kids feel, right? Intrinsic rewards, and what do coaches feel? Intrinsic rewards.
I'll let Aiden go on that one first.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah. So for me as a coach, what rewards me a lot is that the kids are actually taking notes of what the other kids in their position are doing. So, for example, 2 of our centers, if I play one of them, the other one criticizes them. He says, "Oh, look, coach, he's doing this. Look, coach, he's doing it like that. Coach, do you want me to do this?" He's always giving me feedback about how the other kid is doing it. So it's pretty good that they're catching on. And when he goes on, he does a better job, or he does the same, or he does what I tell them to do, the way it should be done, or the way the correct way should be. So yeah, there's that. And for the students, it's pretty much about the way they're building their overall athletic careers on it. Is they're communicating more, they're learning how to become teammates, not one player, they're becoming teammates. They're learning their skills from this league, or they're having fun on the sidelines.
I like that. I like that, Coach. Anything you want to add, Eddie?
Um, it's just the overall experience, really, for me. Like it's so much more laid back. I guess I don't feel so much pressure with all the parents, like with the other teams. Everybody is just very connective overall, and that's a big part of it. The kids don't want to be there with the bickering or any of that. So a lot of the kids are like, are we gonna play again? Are we gonna stay playing the rest of the summer here? I'm like, it's only for 1 month, guys. But they're very excited, and at the end, that's what we want. We want the kids to be excited. We want them to want to come back and continue progressing. And so it comes back both ways on me. It's that feeling that the kids have.
I like that. Yeah, wanting these kids, wanting them to wake up and want to come and do it again, right? A lot of times we spoke about chaos in youth sports. Some of that chaos comes from the negativity that coaches, that put on the kids at such a young age, right? They don't make it fun. They make it about the wins and the losses, and it takes away. Kids feel that, right? They feel that, and they're like, you know what? I've been around many coaches like that growing up when I was little, and everyone has a different personality, a different way of doing things, right? So, being able to trying to teach these kids to where they're gonna love to play basketball even after high school. As adults, I know we have adult leagues. Those are some of the long-term goals that we hope we can achieve through InCity HotSpots. Can we continue sports fun for everyone? So where we can continue having a positive environment and a positive influence on these kids. So one day time is going to turn around, right? Where they're going to become our future leaders. They're going to be our new coaches. They're going to be our new officials. And hopefully they carry on some of the initiatives that we're starting to carry on right now. So, right, the times change, the new generations come. And, these are all the things that I learned from some of my mentors that were my basketball coaches and flag football coaches from years ago. I pick and choose what I like, and I use some of it, what I like, and then I research my own stuff and I put it together, and sometimes we become successful, right? A little bit from there. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about what sports have you both coached in the past, and what are some of the similarities and differences you've noticed compared to the game of basketball?
So I've coached volleyball, kickball, soccer, flag football, basketball. I've done a little bit of everything. And at the end of the day, again, it's a teamwork. It's, knowing how to pass. You use the same pass, pretty much the same passes in all of them. It's working together to get better. I take some of the kids from flag football. I'll go, you know what? I see a lot of this positive. Why don't you go try out for basketball? You have speed. I see we do cross country at our campus also. So I'm like, well, you know what? You're a great runner. Let's put you into basketball. You need a lot of condition to do this, and I try to piggyback with them there when they're not used to it. I brought in some cheerleaders. I'm like, hey, I see that you guys like to run. Why don't you come over here and try this out? When I grew up, since being a female, it was very hard. Like, I could never get into sports because the coaches used to say, you know what, you can go over there, and we used to have to walk around with a ribbon. And I always wanted to go play football with the boys or play basketball, play something with the boys. And so that's one thing, I see a lot more. The girls are really coming out here and doing a lot more with that. So
I like that. Coach H, you coached numerous sports in the past. What are some of the similarities and differences that compared to the game of basketball?
I would say the confidence, it builds up throughout the season, and that's what makes the players great. That's what makes them develop even more. It would be the confidence, and yeah, mainly how they react to their teammates, how they become friends after the season. When at the beginning of the season they didn't know who was who, or where you're from or anything, and now they're best friends at the end of the season. So yeah.
Looking forward, what are your hopes for these kids as they continue their journey in not only basketball but and beyond, right? In everything that they do.
I just want them to keep doing something. Like, it's very hard as they get older, going from maybe elementary, the transition from elementary to middle school. If they can stay at least playing sports, they usually stay on the right track. We do find a lot of kids that fall through the cracks. Maybe even getting into high school and stuff, that they choose not to play sports anymore because maybe they're not the shining star of the team or something. But to me, I've always felt like if you're included or you are involved with a team sport or even an individual sport, your success in life is better.
I like that. I agree 100%. Coach H, what do you hope for these kids as they continue their journey in basketball and other sports in life?
For them to stay active, stay in it, because they might, because eventually right now they're playing with the motion. As they grow up, it's going to develop into playing with heart. It's going to be playing with all heart. So when they get to middle school, they're like, man, I need to make that team. I can't be in B team anymore. I can't be in C team anymore. I need to make the A team. They're always going to have a chip on their shoulder every time they go down. And it develops, it grows. So from middle school, you go to high school, it's a bigger stage, but the goal is to play Friday night lights or Fridays and Thursdays indoors. So it's really much how I want the kids to stay in and for them to develop and learn that yes, it's fun right now, but as you progress and as you're more into it, you're going to be learning and you're going to face a lot of difficulties where you're going to have to be pushing yourself more to your limits.
I agree. Like you said, as they get older, it gets more challenging, right? It gets more competitive, and they're going to have to put in a lot more work. Hopefully it stays fun all the way to adulthood, but yes, they're going to have to put in a lot of the work that we as humans don't like to do, right? Because it does get that much more competitive. A lot more practice, right? Practice on the fundamentals. A lot of times kids just want to go out and play. Let's just go play the game of football. Let's just go out and play the game of basketball. Let's go out and play the game of volleyball, right? But wait a minute, let's go back. They're like me, right? I just want to go play the game of golf. I do not like going to the driving range. I think it's boring. I get bored, right? Just practicing, but I know how important it is that I have to go to the driving range because it is going to better my game of golf. I hope, right? I've hardly ever been in a driving range, but I can relate with a lot of these kids that put in that work that sometimes is not the most fun work, but it's required, right? These are some of the skills that I as well agree with you all that these kids start developing, hitting the weight room. The weight room sometimes isn't the most fun, right? It's hard, but it does produce great results, right? A lot of them have training coaches, even actually at the elementary level, and the amount of money that some of these parents spend is amazing and is overwhelming sometimes, right? So we want to give an opportunity for as many kids as we can for the amount of time that we're live, right? How can we continue making a positive impact on our community? And I am so grateful for the two of you all. We as a community are so grateful for the two of y'all, that y'all have dedicated your time, your commitments, and we're getting ready to finalize right this week our first league, and hopefully it continues to be of great impact not only to you, but it will be. I'm telling you that the kids will remember you all forever, right? So continue doing what you're doing. You're on the right track. Some of Addie, you have a little one, your little one, right? Or your son is about. He's not little anymore. He's going into the next chapter in his life. So I'm pretty sure he was involved in youth sports growing up.
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
He had a very hard time. We tried a little bit of basketball and football.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very hard time because he was very noise sensitive. So this outside league would have been perfect for him.
I got it. And at the end of the day, life isn't all about sports, right? We want, especially at the elementary level, I tell a lot of my friends and colleagues we learn in school, in our education field, that these elementary kids need to experience as much as they can, not only sports. If they have an opportunity to learn music, go for it. If they have an opportunity to learn dance, go for it. If they have an opportunity to learn technology, go for it. We never know where they're going to excel later on down the road. But we cannot my mindset is that we can't just limit them to just one thing. Give them an opportunity to practice as many things as they can. And sports is just one venue, one avenue, right? So we can help them guide. But all these things that they're going to learn, whether it be technology, music, dance, it's all going to require, going back to Coach H, the discipline, right? The competitiveness, and they're going to have to continue putting in the time if they want to continue succeeding. So thank you all for your time today. Before we go, would you want to end on a little fun note? Addie, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, little speed round. What do you prefer, rain or sunshine?
Rain.
Rain. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Phone call or text?
Text.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Summer. Awesome. Coach H, rain or sunshine?
Give me sunshine.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla. All the way.
Phone call or text?
Give me phone call.
Comedy or drama?
Give me drama.
Early bird? Early bird or night owl?
It depends what mood I'm in. I'll say night owl most of the time.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Winter. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you all. Is there anything else? We're good to go. We will see you all on our next episode of Rising Stars. Coach H, Coach Addie, once again, thank you very much. And till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.